Hello everybody, this is Hogan Müller from Constellation Research, welcoming you to episode, can you believe it, number 26 with my partner in crime, Liz Miller. Hey Liz.
What's up, Hogan? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, but you don't say that past the 10th of the year, but hey.
Where's that rule written?
So look up what
oh my god,
like,
wait, does that mean I have my Christmas decorations down? Because I am super late then.
No, I'm for sustainability, so I have a planted Christmas tree which stays all season if I don't forget to water it, which I did last season. So we are on version 2 of the watered Christmas tree.
Oh, we're on Christmas tree 2.0. That's really sad, actually.
Exactly. Well, I'm waiting for Christmas tree 3.0. That's going to be in the metaverse.
Exactly.
And now I will not be able to kill it with the omission of water.
Probably right, exactly. But it'll be a shared experience and it'll have NFTs as ornaments. It's going to be glorious.
So someone did their biggest acquisition in company history, right? Doubling the last crazy acquisition of an HR software vendor. And then they have bought them and they haven't even realized they're the biggest HR software vendor out there. We're talking about Microsoft buying
Activision Blizzard, or I should say ABKs, because it's actually Activision Blizzard King. So they bought the whole kit and caboodle. Hey, how about starting the year off with like a mega deal? And it just... Yep. I mean, hey, 2022 cash is cheap, kids.
70 billion?
70 billion, yeah, close to 70 billion. But, you know, the thing you have to remember, there's a lot of different ways you can slice this acquisition, right? So you, of course, will immediately, like when we were talking about this, you immediately went to workloads, right?
Cloud. Yeah. Gamers want to have lots of bandwidth, lots of compute, premium machines you can hand down to those not so demanding enterprise customers. And I estimate that Activision Blizzard brings more workload to Azure than the fabled, still fought over Jedi deal of the DoD.
But would it have brought more workload than the fabled almost didn't happen TikTok acquisition? That's the one it's like,
The growth numbers on TikTok are a little different from an acceleration perspective than what you see in any gaming industry, right? Gaming can only dream of TikTok adoption,
Well, here's the interesting thing, right? So Activision signed a mega deal, at the time was a big deal in the gaming industry, to shift their cloud computing, their preferred cloud computing vendor deal went to Google Cloud, right?
That's right.
And Google forked over a nice chunk of change to become the exclusive streaming, YouTube becoming the exclusive streaming platform for Activision. So there's a lot of questions in the air of like, what's the fate of those things? Because you never know.
And I mean, Google has the best network, right, across the 3 big cloud guys. There's no question about that. So it certainly was making sense at the time to do that deal. The good news for enterprise customers is this: Microsoft must do something to upgrade their networking capability, which will benefit everybody, not just the gaming customers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the big question at the time when they made the Google deal was, it was great for the company from a cost perspective. It was great for Google, but was it great for the player experience? And if you go onto boards and if you start to look at Twitch, it was not, right? Players were not happy. There was a lot of drops. There was a lot of latency. There was a lot of issues that happened because for years, Blizzard and Activision had been really running their own cloud. They had really been, across 15 different data centers around the world, and their players got used to having a pretty nice, having a pretty nice deal there. So there was a lot of pain.
Right, but really not scaling, right? That's the whole problem, right? Of people running their own cloud, not to mention the security issues and so on. We have in my coverage area, there's an unfortunate situation with UKG going on right now. So not the security, but the scaling, right? Nobody can see how popular a game really will be. So when you're building your own data center from a game perspective, it's like, how much are you going to procure for that? It's not like somebody would put extra networking capacity in there because your New Year special, buy one, get two, took off so much and was that specific bandwidth game. We can't foresee this, right? This is why you need cloud infrastructure.
But you have to remember also with the Blizzard acquisition, and I think the other part that gets really interesting in this, of course, you have this massive portfolio of content, right? So with Activision Blizzard and King, you've got everything from console gaming, PC gaming, and mobile gaming, social gaming, right? Huge area of expansion there for Microsoft. They really didn't have a play in that space. So you've got a ton of content. You've got a movie studio. You've got esports. It is a content gold mine for a subscription business that's looking at Xbox, PC Pass, all those types of things. And then, I mean, that's kind of the obvious pickup where they're going to make some of this back pretty quickly. But then you start to get into that really interesting conversation of, did they really buy this to start to make a play against folks like Meta, aka Facebook, aka Mark Zuckerberg? Did they do this as a play to put a line in the sand and kind of slap some folks around in the metaverse? And that's where the conversation starts to really have a lot of question marks, right? Glitter and sparkle. Because it's an interesting metaverse platform play when you start to think of taking the talent that built these MMOs, right? Massively multiplayer, universes across things like World of Warcraft. Blizzard arguably is one of the best at doing that. And so now you're taking a team that knows how to build an immersive world, and bringing all the workload, all the function, all the infrastructure, the security. I mean, think about the security chips from Xbox. You've got Microsoft. It's a really interesting conversation when you look 5 years down the road of what could happen. But let's hope that.
Totally agree with you, but only if you're looking. Blizzard Activision has the tools for that, right? But if you look at the track record of the before largest acquisition of LinkedIn, which you pointed out before, right? What has Microsoft done to enrich the Office, employee directory, anything in that direction? So Microsoft has really a hard time to leverage these acquisitions. One side from the idea of breaking them, but then really bring the synergy there. Now, the good news from that perspective is I think there's more likely something going to happen because the metaverse is a real threat right now. So.
Right.
But the other thing that I think
so I think you got a couple different places where it's going. I mean, and there have been some other acquisitions. I mean, this is going to be, I think 2022 is going to kind of build up to be kind of a crazy acquisition year, because again, we're heading now into the second year where we're proving that cash is cheap. Right, a lot of people have it to burn. We saw last week Medallia, the customer experience and loyalty organization, picking up Thunderhead, the journey orchestration group. So you're starting to see some shifts in that CX space where we're kind of we've stopped talking about kind of the individual moments of execution across customer experience delivery. We're now starting to talk about, how are we orchestrating this? Where are we bringing the data? How are we tying this all together so that we're looking cross-system rather than like, okay, how does sales engagement automation do it? How does customer service engagement? So we're starting to see kind of journey take shape. The problem is we're starting to see all of those words have really horrid definitions, right? People seem to think that a journey map is the experience, and it's like, oh God, no, or that, just because you've got a tool that orchestrates or automates, suddenly you've got a customer experience. So I think we're going to see a lot more mess in that space. So yay, that's what I get to cover. I get to cover the mess of it all. Yeah.
And good to see that there's action happening. What I sometimes think at the space, and specifically the acquisition you mentioned, is only because it's cheap, it doesn't mean that it's good. Right. So, and I think we'll see more and more percentage 2022 of acquisitions which happen because they're cheap and doable. And we'll see lots of failures coming out of that.
Yeah.
On the flip side, hard to find developers, hard to find good developers. That means acqui-hires will play a role. And if somebody has something built which works and you can integrate and leverage that, back to the Microsoft conversation, can they leverage that from Meta? That will easily chop off 10 billion there. But here's one thing to come back to it one more second, because it's neglected in the coverage. I mean, there's 800 million Windows users out there. Yes, and people are thinking, hey, Apple's trying to do subscription, boom. Microsoft has probably done more for subscription with that acquisition, but those gamers buy Windows PCs, so it solidifies the Windows franchise.
They buy Windows PCs, but you know what? They also go to work. I mean, and this is, talk about what the metaverse is actually going to be when you start to bridge these gaps between life and work, and where everything is going to be immersive. Suddenly you have the biggest graph of someone's life is going to sit at Microsoft. And that's pretty intoxicating, right? Like, you've got
Windows PC Windows platform as a metaverse platform.
Oh yeah, it's going to be huge.
I mean, it was most likely going to happen, but I understand some people in Seattle are paranoid about that it could not happen. Right? It would be all browser based, right? It would be running somewhere else, right? So that concern is tangible for Microsoft, and the 70 billion take it away. It only means $90 per Windows license of gaming, right? Which not every business user will get that. But the average home user will get close to that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, I think you hit on something too of, not just because something cost a lot of money when you bought it doesn't mean it's going to be great. I think people are also making smarter acquisitions about expanding their footprint, expanding their talent base. I think we're starting to see a lot of kind of fill in the gap type acquisitions. 8x8 just closed.
Because there's not enough time to do the organic stuff, right? Even if you're committed to build things yourself, like on a very high level, right? You heard this from Workday for close to 15 years. And now they're buying complete pieces and a complete reversal of strategy just because you can't build them fast enough. Again, money is cheap, and it complements the whole offering, because at the end of the day, customers want to see full functional suites. And the beauty of the cloud is, right, I always joke, it could be Roman technology, right? Carrier pigeons and marble tables. If the service level is correct and the TCO is right, I don't care how it's built.
What is the TCO on a carrier pigeon? Wait a minute. But no, you said it. I mean, it's about expanding your business, expanding your talent base, and it's also about expanding that global footprint, right? So 8x8 just closed on their acquisition of Fuse. It gives them a really nice addition to their talent base with a nice global footprint and a business presence, and quite frankly, an expansion where they can cross-sell their solutions. It fits nicely with the portfolio, but for 8x8, it starts to really expand that customer base and their global presence. And that's what 8x8 is looking for, especially as they start to get into this competitive space around unified communications as a service, right? They have shifted to the cloud. They are a cloud native platform now. So they're really looking at, how do we bring that customer base to where we have that global footprint? So I think we're going to see a lot more of that kind of stuff as we head into 2022. What else do we have on tap?
Nice acquisition. I agree with you.
Yeah, I know. They announced it.
Really talked about the engineering side, right? But it's hard to get people on board to start with you. Long, slow parts, so get an international partner, which is also complementing product. I mean, that's the high game of acquisition, right? That you get things in multiple categories, not just in geographic presence, go-to-market know-how, product, whatever, but that you slam multiple of these categories.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's pretty much it, right? Did we forget something?
That's pretty much it. It's been a busy start in news to kick off 2022. But listen, we've got some really great conversations coming up. We're actually going to be talking. Wait, Holger, it's our other cousin who I got to interview, Lisbeth Mulder.
Oh, very close, yeah.
And guess what? We've got a very special announcement because this is airing on her birthday. So happy birthday, Lisbeth. But she's a Supernova Award winner from CCE last year. So we're going to hear a little bit about her success. And then we'll wrap things up with another conversation that you and I are going to have about what we've got coming up personally on our research agendas in 2022. So stay tuned for that. But hey, listen, folks, thanks for joining us here to catch up on the news on CRTV.
Happy birthday, Lisbeth Mulder. Live long and prosper.
Hi, Lisbeth. How are you?
Good morning, Liz. Good evening, probably.
I know.
I'm good. I'm fine.
Good. We were laughing that it will confuse everyone, especially my long lost cousin Holger, that we essentially have the same name.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We do.
It's just, this was meant to be. So first and foremost, congratulations to you and the entire Aon team for your win, Supernova 2021 from Constellation. Really was so excited and so honored to present you guys with that award for some really, really hard work that you and the team put in. And so we wanted to talk to you a little bit about it. When you embarked on the CRM United project, I mean, that is literally, as the project implies, uniting not just a system, but really uniting how all those relationships needed to be managed, how the culture around what data was doing needed to be managed. It's a massive undertaking. That's huge. What were some of the lessons that you learned going through that process? And what are those best practices that you feel that maybe even some of your peers who might also be looking at this type of unification and consolidation, anything you learned that you're like, you have to know this?
That you really need strong leadership. As a backup, because one thing is that not everyone is happy, because the whole going from 6 instances to 1 is also a big change management project, and most people are not likely to change or not likely to change a lot, and so you need really strong leadership to back that up. Leadership who always keeps the bigger picture in mind.
Oh, that's great. Any kind of happy accidents? I know that anytime you go through that type of massive change management and massive shift, things might not happen the way you expect them to happen. And at first they may feel like, oh, this is bad. But in the end, you look back and say, actually, I'm kind of glad it didn't happen the way we thought it would.
One thing is about reporting, of course. That's where my main focus is on. So what we didn't include from the beginning is reporting, which I regret. I should keep saying, oh, we need to include reporting, because people want to get out of it what you put in, so you need to be on top of that. Our implementation partner said, well, we have out of the box reporting, so it's fine, but we learned that Aon is not out of the box. They want to have different things. So that's not true.
Yeah.
So I regretted to a certain extent that we haven't included reporting, but on the other hand, it gave us an opportunity to centralize, and now we're sort of losing it up. Is that a happy accident? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And also, because of the changes, some people taking the lead in some areas you didn't expect, for example. I think that's a happy accident as well.
Any other processes that kind of, knowing what you know now, you would have changed, going into this campaign?
Probably have to reduce scope. And I know, every project manager knows when you start something, people started putting stuff on your bandwagon. There's more and more and more, and people got enthusiastic. So, starting a little bit smaller. That's one thing. Maybe simplified. Yeah, that's reduced scope. Maybe focus. Simplified. Yeah, focus. Maybe simplified the initial package.
I love it. Congratulations to everyone, and I hope this is the first of many conversations to my doppelganger twin, who's now in Singapore. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. I'm here with Neil Kimber, principal at Excel KKR, one of our Supernova Award winners, especially for a very important category, digital safety, governance, and privacy. Neil, welcome. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. Good to see you.
We are really excited to have you here. And as you know, the Supernova Awards are the Oscars of digital transformation. It really highlights the projects that are really unique, that have really made a massive difference. And we want to talk a little bit about, what you've been doing. So tell us a little bit about Excel KKR. Not everybody is familiar with you, but most folks in our industry are. But a lot of people watching might not know.
Yeah, sure. So Excel KKR, we're an investment firm, a private equity firm that specializes in, we actually focus on growth technology companies, typically SaaS software solution companies. We've been around, it's about 20 years, and currently we have assets under management of roughly about $10 billion. So turning that into, what does that mean from a company standpoint? We essentially own roughly about 50 companies in our main buyout funds. They're all SaaS companies, all technology companies, and we'll hold them for about a 5-year period as we grow and transform those companies before we exit the investment.
Yeah, and you basically have been looking at a whole set of problems, a whole set of challenges that portfolio companies face, and just like every company, the number one challenge that happens in the boardrooms today is cybersecurity. Talk about what was going on in the past, just in general, with breaches and attacks that occur, especially in the enterprise and for your portfolio companies.
Yeah, well, and so like you say, our portfolio of 50 companies, they're all targets, just like any other company out there that could have a bad cybersecurity event. It's part of our responsibility as the owning entity to make sure that our companies are being taken care of. And we were actually concerned a couple of years ago. We were concerned with the uptake of cybersecurity attacks against especially smaller companies. So we kicked off an initiative. It's coming up for 2 years ago, where we wanted to put a program in place to increase and improve both the awareness and also the maturity of cybersecurity prevention across all our portfolio companies. And what was particularly interesting is the year that we kicked that off and we started to explore it. If you go back 18 months or so, was also a year where we actually saw an uptake in cybersecurity incidents against our portfolio companies. We had what I would describe, out of 50 companies, 5 companies had what I would describe as being very severe or serious cybersecurity attacks, which is a combination, in some cases, of just malware, but in a number of instances, actually pretty devastating effects of ransomware. And so the timing couldn't have been better. And the net result of this initiative that we put in place was to raise the bar of all of the portfolio companies. What I can say is in the last 12 months, we've actually had 0 serious cybersecurity incidents. Can't necessarily take credit for all of that, but it's definitely a big improvement from the prior year.
I'm definitely knocking on wood for you. That is amazing. I mean, the amount of cyber attack, given the fact that people were doing remote work, the attack surfaces had increased with all the different types of connections, right? I mean, that is just incredible. What did you do? I mean, what did you apply to actually address this solution?
Yeah, well, I think one of the problems that we see with a lot of companies is companies will talk about being hot on cybersecurity. They want to do it, but at the end of the day, they have a fixed budget, and when conversations come down to it at the leadership level, if you're going to spend money on more salespeople or increasing the functionality of your product or doing something like investing in technology to prevent cybersecurity attacks, the latter is seen as a cost, and it's not going to push the business forward. So it tends to always get neglected and get pushed to the bottom of the list of priorities. So what we did is we introduced a portfolio-wide assessment. So it's a standard assessment that we had every portfolio company go through based on the NIST cybersecurity framework. Essentially, it's an internal assessment. We took the results of that and we actually scored each company on a scale of 100, standardized the scores. And then we use that as a basis for us to analyze across our portfolio companies the maturity levels of the different types of companies. And then each company has got different characteristics. The different sizes are in different industries. So we sliced and diced and analyzed the information based around that as well. And then for each company, we spent time and we brought in a cybersecurity consultant to review where they currently are, or where they were last year, and look at what their score was, and then put together an improvement program for the next 12 months, predicting how much it's going to shift the needle. So like anything, it's a journey. If you score very low, something like a 45 out of 100, there's no expectation you're going to leap to 100 the next year, right? But we'd be very happy to get you from a 45 to like a 57 next year, and then the year after to a 70, right? So the goal is to use that as a mechanism to have a plan as in how to get the improvement. And then that plan essentially is owned by the whole leadership team, and not just the technologist, not just the CTO, the CIO, or the CISO, but all the way up to the CEO. The other thing that we did that was kind of interesting was we actually had one of our companies that was breached give a talk to all of the CEOs across all our portfolio. So we had a call with 50 CEOs, and we had all of our CISOs and CTOs on the call as well, and we went through a blow-by-blow replay of a real-life event that impacted someone. And I think, if anything, just having the CEOs listen to that event and understand that could be their company and it could happen to them, really focus their attention and crystallize the importance of this as an initiative, and it got the buy-in that's needed.
That peer level sharing was impressive, and the level of participation that you guys got from the portfolio companies at all levels, from the board all the way down, was amazing. And that's one of the reasons why you won the Supernova Awards, for not just applying a technology, but getting the buy-in and the culture. Neil, thank you so much for being with us today. Neil Kimber, Principal, Excel KKR, thank you for sharing your story. And of course, congratulations again for winning this year's Supernova Award.
Ray, thanks ever so much. It's great to chat.
Welcome back, folks. Listen, 2 great interviews there. Really exciting to hear from folks. Holger, let's close this episode out with hearing what you have got on tap for your research for 2022.
Well, I'm not the only person on the hot seat. I'm going to ask you as well, right?
Okay.
So happy to start gentlemen first. So I only do one of the two. You have two as well. So we intermix it to make it interesting. So on the future of work side, I have a best practice report, big idea report on the future of talent acquisition, recruiting, super important, right? Has changed. Talent pools have gone national, if not time zone wise, even bigger.
Global.
Correctly. And then the other big thing I need to do, I need to refresh the market overview of the leading HCM suites, which triggers on the offering overview. So that's on the plate for the first half of 2022.
I like
Which
it.
one of your two research areas do you pick, Liz, to go
Oh,
for?
you know what? I got to go with the ones that I would like saying the most and saying that I'm doing a damn market overview. Of course, that's digital asset management, but I still get to say I'm doing a damn market overview. That's coming out in the first quarter. And then I'm probably going to take a deep dive into CDPs, that somehow everyone seems to believe that CDPs are a marketing toy for marketing things. And that is not what a CDP should be actually be implemented for. So we're going to take a deep dive into that. But there's also probably two bigger conversations that we're going to be having specifically around what is that next wave of customer experience as a strategy. What do we need to be looking at? What does it need to include? And then also doing a little bit of a field guide on identity. What, let's just start to...
Well, you jumped over into CISO. Always is like marketing stuff, identity.
Oh, I know. I do the marketing stuff, the CX stuff, the security stuff. I'm all over the map. We're having fun with it.
I know, but I was thinking that the CISO stuff would be coming first, coming closer, nearer to your heart, but obviously it hasn't arrived over the marketing piece yet.
It hasn't. Listen, the marketing stuff just keeps me busy. But here's what I will say. I am getting to do a lot more about the point of intersection in between the two. And I think that's the important stuff as we're moving into the future. Because when we start talking about customer experience, and we start talking about real customer experience delivery, we can't extricate that conversation from the data, the systems, the platforms, all the things that we have to bring into the center of the organization and the enterprise that become a massive headache and a nightmare for the CISO. So we're starting to see more of that shared conversation. So that certainly makes me happy.
Yeah, it's always great when the coverage areas collide. So
exactly. Hey, well, your coverage areas are colliding a lot with mine recently because I can't have a conversation with people without them talking about talent and the Great Resignation and how do I accelerate all of these things, all of these applications that I've brought into my enterprise to actually get them to a point where they're working for my business instead of being a technology roadblock. Right. So what you got going on with next gen applications and business acceleration?
But our research areas don't collide, right? They bump into each other.
Yeah,
they nudge each other to new research highlights, right?
See, look at that. They might poke and prod each other, but it's kind of like us, Holger. Oh my God.
Correct. So on the next generation application side, right, to finish and round things up, right, I need to finish a number of offering overviews on the enterprise application platforms. That's the path of the SaaS vendor, the way to build things on top of your SaaS platform, extend and integrate them. And I need to refresh the next generation compute market overview, which is basically anybody who's offering something which I didn't want to call like this, hybrid cloud. But everybody's saying that and there's confusion. So it's next generation compute platform. It's been out there already, covers all the cloud vendors who have any on-premise capabilities.
But I also heard a rumor that you are going to be compiling a list of, drumroll please, HR leaders.
Drumroll of what?
HR leaders. Aren't you doing an HR, like an HR 100 or an HR 1000?
Yeah.
I'm doing a customer experience. I'm doing an AX 50, AX 100. Every time someone tells me that you're doing an HR 50, suddenly they look at me and they're like, oh, so you're going to do an AX 100? I'm like, just because Holger does 50 doesn't mean I have to do 100.
Yeah, but you have the CMO 1000 in your Rolodex.
That's
true. Yeah. No, yes, absolutely. We have to build and do more on the community side. So this is the year to do this, right? People still being locked at home, doing other stuff, having access to other things than before. Traveling less, right? Gives us an opportunity. So time to strengthen those communities. And I'll
also tell you, I'm fielding a survey right now to CMOs and CXO leaders and asking them things, crazy questions like, what do you look for in technology? What are some of the most important things you're looking at in technology platforms? And what is what are some of the biggest decision-making factors that you look at? Yeah. And the number one thing is peer recommendations and peer validation, right? People want to know what their peers are doing, what's making a difference to them. So communities like this, whether it's the BT 150, whether it's the HR 100, whether it's the AX 100, these are peers that are going to be coming together to talk about what they did right, what they maybe stumbled over, but they're really looking for that peer validation. So I think it's one of the important reasons why we're doing it. But it's going to be a busy year for both of us, Holger.
Excellent. It will be. Looking forward to it.
I love it. Hey, listen,
Right.
that brings us to the very end of this episode number 26 of
Can you believe
CRTV. Thanks for being with us, folks. You can always follow us on Twitter at CRTV_show. Gosh, I think that's right. If it's not, don't follow it. But if it is, totally follow it. Or you can follow me at Liz K. Miller. You can follow Holger at HolgerMU. And you can always follow Constellation R on Twitter and check out the website. Thanks for being with us. And hey, until next time, you're going to get a chance to hear from Doug and Dion next episode. And then we're back in 20 minutes.
Thanks for watching. Stay healthy.
For one, this is like sucks.
Oh wow.
No, it's falling apart.
It's really badly made, so yeah, not happy.
What? It's not a Liz braid.
Yeah, that's for the next solstice. We'll braid everyone's hair.
Wait till I braid Liz's hair.
Do that. We got a sliver of your green screen showing. It's freaking me out.
Dang it. Which way? Autofocus adjustment. They changed the UI on me again. Why did everything go away now? The controls are going away. So oh, this is the wrong way.
Wrong way.
I need to zoom more. Are we happy now?
On your right or left.
A little more zoom.
It's like,
A little more zoom.
I moved the box in. I moved the box out.
It's fascinating.
The controls are these. It's the metaverse. Watch.
Exactly. Ooh, panning.
Oh my gosh! Can we do a whole CRTV episode with snap cameras involved? Holger as a K-pop princess. Okay, are we on the correct side of the screen, Holger? Have we just?
I lost track.
Okay, that's wrong.
Oh, man, we do this not often enough.
Dang it! Okay, so wait a minute. We're doing CRTV today, aren't we?
This is fascinating to me.
Conspiracy theories live on CRTV.
Exactly.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. Anything to get viewership up.
We'll just make hair in October. We'll make money disappear.
This is being recorded. Okay.